her argument is that, you know, why is she being castigated for doing this when men are running about Laudit with their tits out?
Hey, and I understand that, but my point is that they're not the same tits.
There are. I know, man. I just got here.
I was stoned over there a minute ago, and these guys turned up, and I was like, ooh,
And I think,
see pizza.
because how many times have you been to a funeral of somebody that you know was a bit of a wanker, and they were like, "Oh, he was a great lad, didn't he? He was a great lad, wasn't he? No, he enjoyed a drink, but he was a great lad. He was a cunt who beat his wings."
I remember being at a funeral with my dad, but I was at a funeral with my dad, somebody close by, and we're sitting there. My dad came in, he shuffled down beside me, he sat down. Saying all these
Eulogizing, waxing lyrical. The people do that for themselves.
And he was this, and he was that, and he was this man, he did this, and he did that. My dad says, he looked around me and he went, "Want some?" And he says, "Why?" He says, "We're at the wrong funeral." Well, folks, welcome to The Bat and the Bandit, episode 4.
Yes, yeah, episode 4, mate. How are you, Lee?
I'm not too bad, big man.
That's a decent wee intro. My name's Phil Campbell. You're Lee Rogers. You're my best friend. This is The Bat and the Bandit, episode 4. Talk to me about your weekend, mate. What have you been doing since last I seen you? We're trying to act like that we don't hang out every...
Since last I seen you?
Yeah, what have you been doing since last night, yeah. How was your weekend, mate? How was your glorious 12th?
I didn't do very much. Man, you know what? The thought of going out and having a look at all the madness just doesn't appeal to me anymore, you know?
Is the sort of the cultural significance of the 12th dissipating a wee bit? Or is it still held? Do you think it's held?
Well, when I was a kid, it was televised. Yeah. BBC had it, you know what I mean?
It was a full day, wasn't it?
Full day. Oh, aye. When I was a kid, it was a big thing. I think generations now they're not as drawn into it, or the parents, whatever generation the parents are, you know what I mean? They're not as interested in keeping it going, you know?
I think generationally, young people's identities are being aligned elsewhere. There's not as much, like, don't get me wrong, that like your religious and your political affiliations can still be deep held, they can still be yours, but I think there's less of an outward pomp and ceremony about it. And there used to be something quite confrontational about the 12th. Mm-hmm. It used to be a statement being made. But now it seems as if efforts are being made to make it a more inclusive, and
rightly so.
Is it a celebration? Would that be the right word to use?
Yeah, and I think now it's the one time of the year. I think people for a long time were that year round.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their identity.
Yep.
That was their thing.
I remember growing up in Larne, Catholic. We had a neighbour across the road, and he marched on the 12th and everything. You see, for the week before the 12th, wouldn't have spoke a word to you. And for the week after the 12th, wouldn't have spoke a word to you. Yeah. But in the time in between, best neighbour in the world, would have done anything for you.
That was 100%. Was that a guilt thing on his part? Was it a
I think it was more an obligation he felt, maybe.
Right, okay.
I think it was maybe because you had to be this, you had to be that, whereas now it seems not like the 12th still has a significance, and I'm sure it holds a huge significance for people, but it seems a lot more, is lighthearted the word? Less militant, perhaps.
Yeah.
Seems less militant. It seems like I say, less of a statement being made. You have family fun days. You have a more inclusive kind of approach to it, perhaps.
And you know, we needed that because, I mean, let's face it, the militant generation, they're not here anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? No. I mean, let's look at it from the other side. The provisional IRA.
Yep.
The guys who were putting together the bombs and who went out to Libya and trained guerrilla fighters in Colombia, those guys are dead.
Yeah.
The people who are coming behind, who are calling themselves, I don't know, the fucking real IRA and the whatever.
I can't believe it's not the IRA.
All that, yes, you understand. Their foothold, they don't know how to do that, and the guys who did know how to do that can't pass it down because they're gone. You know, which is a fucking good thing. It makes it harder. It makes it harder for a unit of men who are dependent on to devastate a country are gone.
I think it also makes it harder to recruit then.
Yeah.
If there's that, if it's not being, if it's not, let's, a lot of what was religious, political, and ideological extremism has now been replaced by gangsterism. In that regard, if we're gonna get into it without getting too far into it,
and that's exactly, you've hit the nail on the head, because whenever the 12th thing comes up, or the Easter uprising parades come up, then you get all these boys who almost justify what they are and what they're doing by doing that there to say, look, we still this is how we feel. Like, we're still political. We're still here. We're still doing this here. But how they fund it, I don't know, man. Nothing to do with me.
What about right? Your wee woman who fired on a pair of fishnets, a sash
on the 12th,
a bowler hat.
Oh Jesus, man, fucking right.
And got her titty out.
I mean, she's in trouble. I mean, they're either looking for her or they've got her.
She makes a good. Clodagh Byrne. Now I reached out to her to ask if she'd be interested in
Catholic,
coming.
Obviously.
Clodagh, I said, mate, there's not a wide lot of people from from the Shankle called Clodagh. Like,
she had a fucking full sash and all on.
You get that easy enough online, I'm sure. Clodagh Byrne is a young lady's name. And shout out to Aroma. Clodagh Byrne, and she was marching with one of the bands, dressed what I guess you could call
like a burlesque sort of thing.
Yeah, like a burlesque sort of visage. She looked fantastic. Looked fantastic, but she did expose one of her boobs. Yeah. Now her argument is that there were loads of men who were running about shirtless. Yeah. And they had the shirts off. So what is?
Oh, so hers was from a feminist point of view.
I think it was maybe a feminist borderline protest kind of element to it.
Got you.
I haven't spoke to her in depth enough about it. I would love to get her on the podcast and get a chat to her about it. But her argument is that, why is she being castigated for doing this when men are running about lauded with their tits out, so to speak? Which, if you think about it, is a fair comment. Like, who's the one sexualising
That's okay. And I understand that. But my point is that they're not the same tits. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying that
and I'm not saying that you shouldn't get them out in public. Get them out in public if you want. That's entirely your fucking call. It really is. But
well, to be fair,
but the woman's form has been sexualized for fucking millennia.
Well then, can she make the argument? I'm not putting words in her mouth. I'm saying hypothetically, could she make the argument that she's trying to reclaim that? Because who's the one that's been sexualizing the female form? Is there an argument to be made that it's almost admirable what she did?
Oh, it absolutely is. Unfortunately, these days with the social media and stuff, you're going to get demonized for that shit straight away.
Well, to be fair, she wasn't the only tit knocking about that day. To be fair,
there's some haters.
But here, no. I hope everybody had a very happy, healthy, safe 12th. Apart from that. Last week, there wasn't really a lot going on. There wasn't a lot really. There wasn't really a lot. I don't think we're going to trump that last segment. Fuck me, what a segue. Lee, did you hear about this?
Man, I've obviously fucking watched it as it came up. I watched it as it was happening.
Where were you? What was going on? Was it a where were you moment?
No.
Do you think do you think it has the same?
I know where it was.
No, but do you think it has the same sort of cultural significance as a 9/11, as a JFK?
No, the JFK thing, the 9/11. I mean, the 9/11 thing. I was working I just came home from Australia. It was 2001.
Yep.
I was literally home a month. I had got myself a job. I'm an electrical engineer by trade when I was a younger man. And there used to be a place in Belfast on Ann Street called Radio Rentals, right? And Radio Rentals was like the stereotypical, all the TVs in the window.
Like you would see in the movies type?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was standing outside. We were working at a place next door. I think it used to be called NV. It was like a clothes shop or some shit like that.
Yes,
I was doing the lighting circuits in it. And I was out for a cigarette during the 9/11 thing, having a smoke, watching what I thought was a movie on the screens, right? And seeing the second plane hitting. I'd seen the first tower had been hit.
Yeah.
Right? And every screen was showing this, and I was standing having a smoke. I was like, what the fuck this is? Because there's no sound, obviously.
Yeah.
And the next thing I'm watching it, and the next thing the second plane hit. So that's where I was. I was standing in Belfast City, watching this happening on Radio Rentals, which is like a Radio Shack. I suppose if you're an American.
I remember I was coming home from school. I was, and that's not to take the piss out of you. Although it must be said that there is a 12 year age gap between me and my best friend and partner in crime, Lee Rogers. But I was coming.
I'm like your dad, mate.
Mate, if we were part of a different socioeconomic demographic, you could be my dad.
Could I?
So I'm coming.
probably firing blanks back in. But
So the skull bag on, coming home, you know,
did
full.
you double strap.
100%, mate.
You were an emo, weren't you?
Mate, here, no, it was just conscientious. It was just healthier, like. So, of course, it's just better for your back, mate. Anyway, so I get home, and I remember my sister was off sick that day, so she's on the sofa watching it, and my dad was off as well, so he's having a drink, and they're saying nothing. And you know the way sometimes when you walk in the room, and you instantly know there's an atmosphere, you instantly know there's going to be bad news.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the first tower had already been hit.
Right.
And just when I came home, again, the second tower. But you just walked in and you sort of knew that, like, things were going to change without sounding too dramatic and without sounding like, but you knew things were never going to be the same to a certain extent after that, whether it was politically, whether it was going to be societally. This was, up until that point, probably the most significant, and probably still is the most significant terror attack I'm aware of in my lifetime. But anyway, from that to President Trump getting a wee sore ear.
So let me just now. My problem always is I listen to 10 different people around me,
All right.
and then I make it my own. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to get by the fact that now was this kid an actual fucking trained sniper? Because if he was, 100 meters is nothing.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
Thomas Crooks was a 20-year-old kid. Basically, he used his dad's AR.
Right, so he wasn't a trained sniper.
Not only was he not a trained sniper, you know the way in cases like this, I always use the likes of Columbine as an example. Dylan Klebold, Eric Harris were the shooters there, 1999 or 98, I believe. You can do a little bit of background into a little bit of background research into the alleged shooter, the alleged offender, and they're usually an extremist. They fit a certain mold, so to speak. They're either a member of a political party, a member of an anarchist group. They espouse all this kind of stuff on their social media. You know, they are flaggable as fitting a profile, if you will. There was none of that with this kid. Absolutely none of that.
Right. And
that's a little bit of a red flag for me. He was 150 to 200 yards away. With a weapon like that, you or I could make that fucking shot.
Right. What I mean, right, I know what...
I'm getting a bit conspiratorial here, because there are certain things...
I want to get conspiratorial.
Yep, there's certain...
I also am very aware that... very aware of the facts. The crowd were told to ignore the guy setting up a gun on the roof.
That in and of itself, ignore the guy with the AR-15
setting up on the roof. Who isn't one of ours, and we don't know. Did they think he was one of the? They think that he was one of theirs that was setting up to cover?
He was. So again, there are a number of things which are interesting. So a situation like that has different emergency services. Obviously, the Secret Service, CIA, local law enforcement, local emergency services. He was reported twice on the Open Comm radio network, which CIA and the Secret Service all have access to. Reported and photographed twice. The last report, I believe, of him being on the roof with a gun was in and around 5:45. The shots were fired at 6:11. He was photographed twice.
So hang on. So there's a 40 minute.
At 5:45, a member of the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit tactical team saw Crooks on the roof and photographed him, as did members of the public, who then notified the police.
And the first shots didn't go until 11 minutes past 6.
6:11, first shots were fired.
So he had a lot of time up there to hang about.
So, and I think that was only when he was first reported. He could have been up there before that.
Is there there's a comfort in being that and having that long to set up? There's no. There's a
settling in period.
Yeah, there's no kind of fucking like panic around to get the job done here.
Yeah,
that's what 6:15. What's 15 and 11?
26.
It's 2 in the morning. This is an early morning one, by the way, guys. This is.
That's why I'm sober. But yeah, so there was time there, and obviously, like, right, you sound like a fucking tinfoil hat wearing cunt when you go on about this kind of stuff. And obviously 2 people were injured and a person did lose their life, so you don't want to be making light of this by any stretch of the imagination. No. But there's certain things that deserve to be questioned a wee bit. Right? One being, so he's shot in the ear.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what Trump is claiming saved his life?
What?
Turning to look at a statistics board that he brought with him to speak about statistics. What were that statistics?
What?
They were all about immigration. What is his biggest talking point on his political campaign? Yep. That being immigration. So now he can be, immigration saved my life. I looked at the board, good ear, beautiful ear, best ear in the world ever. Like, do you know, like he can use that now. 2 days later, he appeared at a rally. If there's been an attempt on your life, which has been credited as viable by the Secret Service, are you making a public appearance 2 days later? Or are you parlaying the support, perhaps, that has been garnered, the momentum that has been garnered for your political campaign? Are you parlaying that into further momentum,
100%,
if you will?
100%.
Do you reckon Joe Biden was sitting at home watching it, being like, "Oh my God, I wish somebody was." Kids smell great. Have you seen that cunt smelling kids?
Oh, yeah, so we stuff in the winds, don't we?
Right. Also, I'll be honest, I don't think Joe Biden's alive.
You think this is a...
I reckon they defrost him at the start every day.
Yeah.
I don't reckon...
There's something strange. I mean, look at the conspiracies around him as well. Like, I mean, have you seen the photographs comparing him to when he was like fucking, like, he was a good looking man, he was like doing his shit, he was a fucking super senator everywhere, you know what I mean? Everybody loved him.
Mate, it's some
ears and everything, they're different.
Mate, it's some ex-machina shit going on right there. Like,
ex-machina.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, we're not going to dive into that.
No.
But here, Google that, and as soon as you Google that and do a deep dive, your phone will fucking go.
Oh, aye, that's the problem. That's the problem.
I don't think Joe Biden knows.
Yeah. But here, America have got their newest fucking iconic photograph.
Yep.
Mate, did you see that?
No.
I mean, that is heroic as fuck.
No, that is now. I'm when it comes
blood
to
running down his face. Secret Service guys shit themselves. Him in the middle with a fucking fist up.
His ear though.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it's almost like they've been sitting around. There's been like a focus group, and it's just like, okay, we need him to get hit somewhere, guys. Okay.
What is it?
Ideas, guys. Ideas. What have we got? What have we got? Is he willing to lose an eye? President Trump, are you willing to lose an eye? No, I love both my eyes. So they had to fucking shoot him in the ear.
He don't listen to anybody anyway.
We see after the weekend of the 12th, it was a bad weekend for ears in general. That's fuck me. But there's also a theory that he had a blood capsule in his hand. That as soon as it went,
we're hit. Yeah, we're
again. I'm not saying that this happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying there are things worth looking into. If
he get nicked properly in the ear, he's a good whack of his ear has to be missing.
Well, you see,
a perfect bullet-shaped fucking
divot
in his ear has to be out of it.
He turned up the next day, or 2 days later, at another rally or campaign or whatever you want to call it, with what you could only describe as like a pillow that he'd ordered off Wish on his ear. Like, it just... I know former President Trump is a very, very confident man, billionaire and everything, but there was almost a smugness to him. It was very, very, almost like wink and a nudge.
Has he won people who would not necessarily have been behind him?
Oh, his approval rating has gone through the fucking roof. Not only that, but shares in Trump Tech and Trump Digital, the parent company, have risen by 31% in the wake of this.
Nah, listen to me. Is that where we are as a species, mate? We're so influenced by certain things that happen in society to certain people that will make you not only sympathise and go, that's terrible, I have a different opinion of you, but jump into your thing with your money and your fucking, do you know what I mean? We're with all the...
Right. I would say, and again, without sucking our own dicks, I would say we're critical thinkers, right? Therefore, because we think critically about things, and like if we're asked something, we will break, or if we're presented with something, we'll break it down.
Yeah.
We'll break it down, and we will have a little bit of a think about it, a discussion about it. We'll try and pull different bits of information from different places. that puts us in the minority, my friend. So there are a vast majority who will consume whatever media, whatever information they are given. So yes, the vast majority of people will heavily influence upon their the collective consciousness, if you will.
Quickly on the back of that, and then we'll get back onto your thing, or back onto what we're doing.
Yep.
There's a theory that, right, so in the 1989 Guinness Book of Records, when you open that up and you're reading through it, it tells you all the population statistics and stuff. I remember having that at Christmas time, 1989, and the fucking population of the planet being 4 billion.
Yes.
We're up close to 8 or around the 9 mark now. So from 1989 till now, we've doubled, right? There's a theory that there is human beings that walk about this planet that are just animalistic survival instinct.
Okay.
But that survival instinct goes the best of the phones, the best, just stuff.
Yeah.
People just want stuff. They don't have a soul.
NPCs.
But they are aware of themselves, they know what they're doing, but they're not self-aware. Do you believe that's a thing? Do you believe that's the segment of humanity that is easily influenced because they're not aware of themselves and they know what they're comfortable following this and that to almost make themselves belong to something?
100%, man. Mate, we're seeing it in the social shift with all the sort of and we're going to get on to it a little bit later. We're going to touch on the subject of virtue signaling with regards to the Jay Slater case, which I find fucking intriguing. But human subjectivity by its very nature is malleable.
Yeah.
Okay? And the malleability of that, who's the one forging that? Who's the one working the sheet metal? Who's the one working the glass? And to what end?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if there is a large, I'd say the majority of the populace aren't trying to collate and acquire their own information. They're happy to sit, whether it's with their phone, with the TV, and just have that on. Right? Do you remember? I always bring things back to Batman, right?
No, do you?
Yes, I do. Right?
Noticed, man.
Do you remember the one with Val Kilmer and Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Do you remember they had that thing where you could just beam stuff directly into your fucking head? That's big unit.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting to a situation like that now.
We're there. We're just doing it in a different way.
We're doing it in a very different way where information and how many so. It's almost like...
Look at your targeted ads on Instagram.
100%, man. 100%.
That fucking scares the fuck out of me, man.
Have you ever been...
I'm pretty sure I haven't typed some of the shit in. It's hearing.
Oh, yeah, mate. It picks up on everything you hear. But you're right. You're a musician. Let me break it down like this. You're a musician, right?
Yep.
Do you ever have bits of your song, the call and response bit of your song, where you say something and they call it back to you? You have that. That's what's happening with mass media.
Yeah.
They're throwing it out there. People are reading it going, oh, yeah, that's right.
Only they're not realizing that that's what's happening.
They're not realizing they're not realizing they're being manipulated. They're not realizing that they're a little. I don't want to call people puppets, but it's not far away.
I don't mind doing. I don't mind doing this here.
Yeah.
There's people on this planet have no soul. There's nothing behind their eyes.
Yeah.
They are functioning. They're right. See the way a crow. A dog would kill a crow.
Yeah.
It could tear it apart.
Yeah.
But that crow's up there looking down. It doesn't give a fuck about the dog.
No.
It doesn't know what the dog is. It doesn't understand it. But it also knows, I'm not going near you.
Yeah, it knows it's dangerous.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the same type of thing, man.
Yeah.
They're surviving. They're surviving. And to survive these days, you need certain things. Stuff. The more stuff you have, the bigger and grander you
distractions,
are to your
mate.
peers, you know what
distractions.
I mean?
It's all distractions. And I'm guilty of it. Like we've said this before. Like, you see, before I go to bed, I'll sit and I'll doom scroll an hour on Reels.
And and you know what? I don't even apologise for it, man. I love it.
I love
it. I lie there pissing myself, mate.
Every so often.
And fucking have a laugh, you know?
Every so often, I'll have a wee giggle, or we'll send you a reel, you'll send me a reel. But again, do we do that because it's easier to do that than really engage with being alive?
No, I think for me the alternative is reading the news stuff that I don't want to do. I try to now listen for this here now.
Yeah.
I've been involved myself a little bit. I've been looking to see what's been going on.
Yep.
But I have avoided it for years, and I'd be honest with you, my life, my fucking inner self is happier not really knowing, not giving a fuck about what's going on with the rest of the world. Because people sometimes will put their whole thing into what's going on out there.
Yep.
And forget about what's around them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's, you know, it's a thing.
You also have to ask it if you're going to get a wee bit sort of really into it and go like deep state and all that kind of shit. Who's controlling what we get from the news? Because if you think, right, I know that there's 24-hour rolling news channels, but that's what is said in the first hour is exactly the same that's said in the second hour, exactly the same in the third hour, exactly the same in the fourth. That can't be the only news worth talking about.
Rothschilds.
Who's control? Whose kids?
The Rothschilds.
Who's Roth? Go ahead. Go into that a little bit for him.
Fucking right, man. I mean, did you ever see the photograph of? I can't remember which one it was, but with royalty, Prince Charles.
Yep.
He's like, there's a photograph of him almost like making a child out of him, pointing at his chest. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Sort of sticking his finger in his chest, and Charles is just taking it. You just don't do that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of the royals. I'm not.
No, not a royalist. By any stretch of the imagination.
But when it comes to royalty, there's certain etiquette, and he didn't have it. Where's he here? I mean, he owns. I think there's only like one bank he doesn't own. I think it's one of the Irish banks is the only bank that he doesn't actually own.
So you always have to think.
If you own the banks, you own everything. That's you.
The news that you're being given is the news that has been selected for public consumption.
Yeah. And
again, with the demonization of those who voice conspiracy theories has always interested me, because they're wrong until they're right. Because there are people like Alex Jones. Alex Ross is a very famous comic book writer and illustrator. Alex Jones has been wrong about many things. However, he's been right about a fair few things. He's been right about a fair few things as well.
We're not fans of Alex Jones.
No. I think the whole thing was fucking abhorrent. Right? Was absolutely. By no way are we saying I don't listen to. I never listened to him or anything. I never listened to his show or anything like that.
He's not the easiest cunt in the world to actually listen to, even when he is right.
Fluoride in the water's making the frogs gay. Which I think it was actually proven to be right.
Did he involve himself with the Flint water fucking scandal?
Flint, Michigan? I have no idea. No, as I say,
I have a vague memory of listening to him talking about the Flint thing and actually I'm thinking to myself,
I'm not a fan of his by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm saying, the more you demonize and castigate somebody who's speaking out against an establishment or speaking out against mainstream media, the more they become demonized, and because the greater populace, as you said, is absorbing all of that, they then think the same of that person. So even when they do start speaking a modicum of truth, that gets completely lost in the shuffle. Are there parallels in any kind of way to be drawn between the alleged assassination attempt on Trump and the assassination of JFK back in '63? Does that feel a bit tenuous?
The JFK thing, man. There was so much more to it. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't just somebody who was pissed off at him that just jumped out of the fucking bush and shot him. And even where the book depository, the room where he was shot from, the angle, it's all wrong. That was not where he was shot from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was where they found shells or whatever, whatnot. That's where they said, that's where, Lee Harvey Oswald was a fucking scapegoat.
Yeah. He was shot 2 or 3 days later.
Jack Ruby shot him.
And was he a club owner?
Yeah.
So he was a mafioso?
Yeah. No, ex-army, wasn't he?
You can be ex-army and mafioso,
Jack Ruby?
Oh, yeah, the guy, yeah.
I thought you meant Lee Harvey Oswald.
No. But then, so there's been, I've seen, there's so much on JFK, but I've seen that there was KGB involvement, that there was CIA involvement, that there was the mafia, that Castro was involved. So if you throw...
There was a lot of this to do with his anti-segregation thing as well, man. It was Which fucking rightly so.
Was any of it to do with the fact he bucked Marilyn Monroe?
I don't know. Do you know what? There's that many conspiracies. I mean, you can pretty much type in... You could come up with the craziest conspiracy, type it in.
I'll probably find it.
And it's there.
You can start looking for a bit of confirmation bias.
But JFK, as a president, was the bee's knees. Like, I mean, he was, everybody loved him.
What a lad.
He was some boy, wasn't
he? Fucking...
And as fucking Irish-American as it came too, like,
making a stand against segregation, slinging dick all around them, like, my guy.
A lot of parallels between him and Lincoln. So there's a whole list of shit, actually. It's what, man, see if I had a thought, I would have done a bit of research and maybe wrote one of these cards for myself. But
fail to prepare.
But there's so many weird parallels between
correlations.
Yeah, Lincoln and right down to their names, how their names go, and their parents' names, and then right into where they were shot, who shot them. There's a whole thing, and it all sits side by side. Look it up if you get a chance. Parallels between Abraham Lincoln and JFK, assassinations and life, and I'll blow your head off.
For ages, and I'll blow your head off.
I did not mean that.
That's incredible,
I'm not sharp enough for that this time in the morning.
Mate, for ages, and I'm not saying this for a cheap gag or anything like that, I genuinely thought for ages Grassy Knoll was a person. I genuinely thought he was like a co-conspirator.
Grassy!
He was like, you know the way like mafiosos have like nicknames like, hey, that's Knuckles McGee, that's Sneaky Bob. Hey, anybody seen Grassy Knoll?
Here,
just because he snitched once or something, you know.
There could have been 2 shooters.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Send one shot from the Grassy Knoll, which was never proved. You know, they still say it was the book depository room.
Yeah, from the window.
But where that was, can't do that.
Yeah.
Whatever angle that he was hit at. You know, I'm not a scientist, so I don't, you know what I mean? But I understand angles, you know. And a bullet coming in here is going to do this. A bullet getting in there is going to do that. Whatever way that bullet went in, can't have came from fucking over here.
Sorry, just when you say angles, because obviously my fucking autistic brain goes off on different strands here.
You ever see that movie, A Beautiful Mind? I imagine that's what you're like. You sit there and just see fucking numbers and shit and fucking...
It's more
Pythagoras theorem.
It's more like a monkey with a fucking pair of cymbals just going ah. But just angles there. For some reason, I thought of Angels, then the Robbie Williams song, right? And as a tattoo artist, you'll appreciate this. I did see a meme floating about of somebody that had a tattoo saying "I'm loving angles" instead. And someone commented underneath it being like, I fucking love 90 degrees. That just tickled me. But so obviously we're going to bookend that. Obviously, you know, our best wishes to President Trump.
Yep, best wishes to President, future.
No, you still call him president even after they've done their first term.
Do you?
You still refer to him as Mr. President.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't a weird leap into the future, but here he's definitely going to be president again, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's the alternative?
Man, why would, I mean, he's more money than God. Why would you bother?
Also, why? Last thing I kind of want to say on this. So the Secret Service were obviously, you know, his Secret Service. He's a billionaire. Why didn't he have his own private security detail doing all that?
Yeah.
Maybe there was
maybe that was his own and they were shit.
No, that was the Secret Service.
Well, here, all the lads all fucking dropped to their knees as soon as a gunfire started. It was the woman.
Yeah.
And listen, fucking fearless. Women are fucking fearless. Women have been subdued in society for thousands of years because they are scary.
Yeah.
Because they are scary people. Yeah, they're scary fucking things.
We support them lovely bitches.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you. But it was one woman actually got him and sorted him out. The guys all went, fuck that shit, didn't they?
Maternal instincts, man. Maternal instincts kick in.
Just quickly while we're still in the States.
Yeah.
I want to mention this boy here.
Yes, tell me about that, man.
This is Garen Hagen. He's spin around. You see that all right?
Hagen number 2.
Yeah. Garen tragically died a couple of years back, so he did in an accident, tragic accident.
Yep.
And his cousin, they're like brothers, but they're cousins. He turned up at one of my shows in New York last year.
Yep.
And brought this with him, so he did. And Danny and I would be close anyway.
And Danny's been a great supporter of the podcast, so shout out to Danny, great lad.
Danny, thank you so much.
So yeah, shout out to the big man.
So this is a shout out to you and your family, mate. I am wearing it. I'm going to wear it today working because it's early morning here. And Danny's a great kid. A beautiful fucking video of him and my daughter Luca.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes, mate.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post it up on the Bat and the Bandit page.
Set it up a wee bit for us first.
Yeah. So Danny's driving me around New York, and my daughter came. This is the first time she came to any of my shows with me, and she jumped in the car, and she loves rap music. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the song comes on. Danny's listening. Danny is a rapper. That's what he does. And this song comes on, and she starts, and I was blown away. She was fucking brilliant. She's in the backseat. I'm in the passenger side here. Danny's here. I'm looking around at her.
Your wee girl turned into a gangster, like.
It's a fucking gangster. Danny's full on. He's just this New York fucking cool bastard.
Yeah.
Rapping. And he's passing lines to her and all. He's driving the car.
He's doing what?
No.
That's your daughter, bro.
I know. Vocal lines. Sorry. Yep. It shows you where his cunt's head's at.
Clean and sober.
He's passing fucking vocal lines to her. She's giving them back. I'm blown away. But,
let's go.
Yeah.
Shout out to the big man.
Shout out to the big man. I'm going to post that video up on the Bat and the Bandit Instagram page. You'll like it.
Another thing I wanted to get now. This is going to be not controversial for the sake of being controversial, but just I've had some opinions on this from the very start. These opinions are mine, and mine alone. If you agree with me, great. If you don't,
go fuck
yourself. Yeah. So the whole
don't give a fuck.
We don't give
a fuck, man.
So the whole Jay, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the whole Jay Slater thing. This kid that got lost.
Well, I only heard about it. It was actually my daughter was telling me about it in the car, telling me about this tragic story.
Yep.
And then she capped it off with a couple of things that made me go, "Oh, okay,
now,
all right." I don't know if
the media. I'll go with what is being said in the media, and then what I think is going on.
Right.
So, 19-year-old lad, apprentice bricklayer, goes on holiday with a bunch of mates, goes out drunk and everything, goes missing. Tragic, yep. Absolutely tragic. Can't be found. A national campaign sweeps Britain to raise awareness of this young lad, loving son, great friend to people, who has gone missing, that needs support, needs saved, needs found, needs brought back home. Mm-hmm. Unlike the European Championships that England got knocked out of, he needs brought home. However, it turns out this kid is a deplorable little cunt.
Right.
No.
Okay. Now I've heard small pieces of this.
Now
I'm talking. He's been
when this kid was 16, him and 7 other fellas lured a young lad. What's the young lad's name? Tom Hilton. Lured him to a particular area. Beat the living fuck out of him with golf clubs, and this J kid put a fucking machete in his head.
Holy fuck! Did he kill him?
He was lucky to be alive. Tom kid went to hospital. Fractured skull, left for dead. Kid could have died. Right. Kid could have died. Now, I am acutely aware that the gangland stuff can happen and people can be a product of their environment. By all means, this fucking J lad had a fairly decent upbringing, like.
Right.
Chose to engage in this kind of activity. And don't get me wrong, you can, like people say, oh, but, we all do stupid stuff when we're young. We all do stupid stuff when we're young. People up. Yeah, maybe a bit of cocaine and fucking a fat bird, not burying a machete in the back of somebody's head. Do you know what I mean? And during the court case, all of the defendants, Jay included, laughing the whole way throughout the trial. Fucking about the whole way throughout the trial
if he's been brought up right, that's something that's wired different.
To the point where the judge had to stop the trial and be like, lads, what are you doing? Now, how much jail time do you think he did for essentially attempted murder?
Well, it should be at least 8 years, shouldn't it?
Fuck all. Kid did fuck all. Got an 18-month community order. Had to...
System is fucking broken, man.
18-month community order. Had to attend rehabilitation sessions.
Right. Because
clearly he was the fucking victim here. And 150 hours of community service. Now.
Scumbag.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear of an individual who essentially attempted to kill another individual with a weapon and doesn't do jail time?
Tout.
The kid's a fucking tout.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be.
Yeah.
There's no other. I can't. And don't get me wrong. I know he was 16 at the time, and it's the justice service and everything like that. But he's given up information.
But if he's given up information, it means he was in a position to have known information.
Yes, so he's known information. But also, if he's given information, it also means that he has fucking sank somebody.
Yeah.
And when you sink somebody, they're going to find out about it. So he's going to Tenerife.
Oh, were you up late last night?
No. Right?
Anyway, keep going.
So he's gone to Tenerife on a holiday.
Yeah. With mates.
Holiday with mates. Mm-hmm. Allegedly, there was something to do with the 10 grand Rolex, but I don't give a fuck about that. That's a fucking timepiece. It's a watch. Fuck that. Whether he stole that, I don't give a fuck. Now, Are you
trying to say that because he stole this, somebody's killed him?
No, but well, not in the mainstream media, because it's our poor wee Jay, God bless him.
Right, okay.
The Airbnb that he was last at was rented out by a guy who was responsible for one of the biggest drug running schemes in Wales.
Okay.
So did they just stumble upon each other by happenstance?
No.
Did they just fall into one another's pockets? And another thing that annoys me about it is he's been fucking offed.
He's been lured in.
He's been offed. And the evil that men do not only lives on in their bones, but lives on in their future lives and the things that they do. One of the things that has really, really fucked me off, how this whole incident has been hijacked by the mainstream media and has turned, it's almost like Max Clifford was involved, right, and he has the best possible PR company imaginable. A GoFundMe was started.
Seen that?
I checked last night. Do you know how much that GoFundMe has gone up to? 60 grand. Right.
Should we fucking pretend you're a missing man for it?
Mate, I'd be more than happy to, like.
Would you?
But no, mate, I'm not daft. I would actually go missing. You know, I wouldn't be.
You'd forget where you put yourself.
I would, mate. You'd come back and I just wouldn't be where you left me.
I fucking love you, kid.
I'd end up in Guam or something, just whittling boats all of a sudden, being like, well, this is what I must have been doing. So 60 grand, mate, right? Where's that 60 grand going to then?
I'll be filtered into whatever he owes.
Could be filtered into whatever he owes, but whoever has access to like his mum, I believe, may be a beneficiary of that. Right. Now, what I would suggest, just off the top of my head, would maybe donate that money to a victim's charity. Yeah. Would be the moral thing to do. Yeah. But again, it raises the bigger question of virtue signaling in the mainstream media. Yeah. Because I was becoming infuriated looking through the comments, being like, oh, God bless, hope that poor wee boy's return safe. This isn't a wee boy, this is a gangster. Yeah. This is a 19-year-old gangster who has done horrible, deplorable things.
He's done time and all.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he deserved to have his life taken away from him. Yeah. I'm saying that he is not an innocent, and the choices that you make as a young man beget the choices that then present themselves to you and then beget actions. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And I think that is something that has not been stated. But again, it raises the bigger issue of virtue signaling and people attaching themselves to a cause just to be part of a causation and champion something.
Have you ever seen, along the same lines, the support that people like that get?
Yep.
Look at the fucking, the good-looking cunt. Remember the good-looking fucking bastard with the tattoos on his face? And he was fucking his mugshot, and he killed like about eight women.
Oh, that then went on to become a model? Did he become a model?
No. It was all.
Or do you mean a serial killer?
All the women then that jumped on that, going, "Oh my God, he's fucking gorgeous," and he's just he killed the eight fucking women.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, but look at his eyes.
Do you know what I mean?
I could change him.
I could marry him. Well,
she's like Bundy. Look at the fixate. Like
that cunt had a fucking following.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy, my wife's one.
Richard,
weird as fuck.
Richard Ramirez.
Richard Ramirez,
you know, like the
fucking Night Stalker.
Is it indicative of a wider societal problem?
I can't even. You know what? I can't even talk for women here. I can't even say what I think.
No. We're not saying a gender specific societal issue. No. But is there a almost need to
control, be in control?
Yeah,
like I can control that. Is that what you're trying to say? I could make that not be a thing.
Yeah, because obviously, because I always.
What is attractive about a serial killer to a woman?
Well, I've no idea. We would need to ask. We would need to ask a woman who has a particular fixation with serial killers. But what I think, especially with regards, getting back to this Jay Slater stuff, I think I maybe called him Jay Taylor there, and a little bit of a tiz, so apologies. Well, he's not going to mind. But Jay Slater, I believe that there are people sitting around the room, like in the Sun, like the creative room of that, being like, okay, what way do we spin this? And it's all spin. And it's all, again, like, young man's lost his life. If the body has been identified as his over in Tenerife, young man's lost his life. Yes, that's a tragedy. Any death that's unnecessary is a tragedy, but you cannot act like this.
He's an innocent kid.
That he is an innocent in all of this. Like, the guy that he...
Was it his age? Do you think we would have got as much coverage if it had been a 47-year-old fucking...
No, not at all. Because that probably happens
all the time.
That probably happens on the daily. But this was an opportunity to turn somebody into something they weren't, for the purposes of either selling papers, for the purposes of seeing how easily it is to control the masses. But again, there was just so many things in that, with the issue of virtual side, and the way people were jumping on board with it as well, and then becoming a champion of this. You got everybody essentially jumping on this bandwagon, jumping on this cause, and that.
It's another thing humanity's very good at.
Yeah, it didn't sit right with me
Seeing
at
something
all.
over here, you're here, and they need to.
Yeah.
Already that they still need to go. Man, that's fucking,
like people see stuff and they need to so desperately be part of some sort of causation that they don't even need the details. Yep. They just same with like. Have you ever seen the videos of the people who attend rallies? And this mostly happens in the States, and this isn't. You know, we have a couple of listeners from the States, so
we love America. By
we
the
do,
way.
we do. You know, America the brave. Let's go, woohoo! But you ever see people going up and say, like, "So, what are you here today at this rally supporting?"
I don't know.
No, they don't know. I seen a great one. It was to do with like support of like the gender spectrum or something, and a guy went up with a clipboard and was like, "Sir, how many genders do you believe there are?" He's like, "I know, man. I just got here.
I was stoned over there a minute ago, and these guys turned up, and I was like, ooh."
And I
see pizza.
I seen pizza, a big flag, and a stage, and I was like, "Is Taylor Swift here?" But again, the masses get controlled. Masses get controlled so easily. But here, listen, have a think about that, folks. If you disagree, let me know why you disagree. If you agree, great. But it's something to have. I'm not saying anyone deserves to die. I'm not saying the kid deserved to die. I'm saying that he wasn't entirely an innocent here. He made choices.
He was a wee cunt.
Yeah, he was a wee cunt.
Yep.
He was, and again, another thing. I'm going off on tangents here, so bear with me.
That's what this is all about. Tangents.
You see this whole. Oh, you can't speak ill of the dead. Carry on.
Fuck him.
I hate that.
Aye.
You know, you need to normalise. If somebody was a cunt, they were a cunt. Because how many times have you been to a funeral of somebody that you know was a bit of a wanker, and they were like, "Oh, he was a great lad, didn't he? He was a great lad, wasn't he? No, he enjoyed a drink, but he was a great lad. He was a cunt who beat his wings. Get the fuck. Oh, he's a bit of a character, wasn't he?"
Being at a funeral of my dad. You know my dad very well.
Yeah, I loved your dad a bit, man.
Gone 7 years now, and he was
7 years. Fuck.
He was the fucking best.
Crawford Rogers.
What
man?
But I was at a funeral with my dad. Somebody close by, and we were sitting there, and my dad came in. He shuffled down beside me, and he sat down. He went, and they were saying all these
eulogising, waxing lyrical. The people do that for themselves.
And he was this, and he was that, and he was this man. He did this, and he did that. And my dad says, "Do you look around at me?" And he went, "Come on, son." I says, "Why?" He says, "We're at the wrong funeral." But he said it loud enough that fucking the first two rows kind of looked around and, you know.
Why do you think people do that? I think, like, why do people eulogise the dead?
Nobody wants the ones that, no matter what type of cunt they were.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the one to say it.
Yeah.
When I go, the only person who's talking at my funeral is going to be you. Right? And I want you to tell not all the truth now, because not. No, that's not.
Do you want to know why not all the truth? Because I'm fucking implicated in a lot of it. Burn the files,
but, you know,
burn the hard drives.
But you can sail across just the top
I can
of it,
skirt,
man. You can
skirt close to the wind. But we'll move on from that. You posted something on Sunday. Now, that was a wee bit out of character for you.
Right.
I'm a massive football fan.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So it wouldn't have been out of character for me to post something football related. But you felt a wee urge, a wee push, a wee presence or something to comment. Now, last Saturday, England the Brave were beat 2-1 by Spain in the final of the Euros, Euro 2024 in Germany.
I was glad to see that, man.
But what compelled you to post about it?
Again, the women thing. That bugged the fuck out of me, that the women have brought World Cups and everything back to that country. And the fucking
Euros, don't think they won the World Cup. I think they won the European Championships, I think.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yep.
I don't know what fucking
point of order, sorry.
But whatever they brought home wasn't even recognised. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't recognised. Now, women do not need me to be their champion. That is not a thing here.
Are you not lie?
It fucking pissed me off, man. That they're still going, "Oh, fucking never got it, never brought Anne home again." That was us. Plus, The English.
They're hard. They're hard. Do you know what we have? This actually came up on listener questions.
I can't fucking do this, man. The English. Go ahead.
This came up on listener questions. We'll get into it. But right, if I'm looking at it objectively, what you're saying about the women's team versus the men's team. Yes, the women's team did win the Euros, which was an incredible accomplishment. However,
you can't say it's not football.
It's women's football. I'm going to let that settle for a wee bit. And as somebody who loves football, and I've watched women's football, it's just not the quality. It's not the same quality as men's football. Yeah. Technically, physically, it's not. So it doesn't draw the numbers. It doesn't draw the merchandise. It doesn't draw the money.
It deserves a recognition, though.
Oh, it deserves recognition, yes, 100%.
Who recognize it? The clubs that the girls all came from to play for England? I don't get this.
They're not on a par.
Well, no.
The one with
I never assumed they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same as what we know. It's the same as a female and a male MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Females are fucking off the charts great.
Off the charts,
but they're not the same thing.
No, they're not.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Okay?
They're not. Incredible accomplishment, but I don't think you can put them in the same bracket.
Well, the men are the ticket buyers, and I understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the big thing is that.
Yeah.
But
you just enjoyed seeing England getting beat, didn't you?
Oh, fuck, man. For an hour, I couldn't listen to that for.
No, because I watched
30 years,
I watched the coverage.
I'll never win an hour thing again.
No, I watched the coverage on the BBC, which is meant to be an impartial broadcaster, and the sycophantic ramblings of experts who I usually enjoy listening to, but who were so blatantly up the England's team's hole. It was, and they wonder why other nations don't like England as a country, as an institution, as a people.
Because they're raped and pillaged their way through the world for fucking centuries.
Yep, 100%.
What did they do here?
And
anyway, don't start me on that.
Well, I'm going to leave that.
Whole other fucking
I'm going to leave that for listener questions, and we can get into that a wee bit because a friend of mine sent an interesting one. But there is an arrogance with England and their people in anything they do. Yeah. For example, right? See if you got a group of 4 Irish lads in a pub watching football, sitting, having a bit of crack, a few pints of the black stuff, enjoying life, a bit of banter. You have 4 English lads. Like, you wouldn't even know that the Irish lads are in the corner because they're keeping to themselves, they're chatting away. You get 4 English lads within about 2 or 3 pints. England! They're do you know what? They're the Americans of Europe. They are loud, brash, dislikable, and they have this colonial arrogance. For the most part, which is detestable, and that's not like I have English friends.
I have English friends,
and
there's English people that I love.
I don't just make a blanket statement that I hate all English people. Like the vast majority in group situations, they are intentionally, outwardly intimidating, loud, brash to be seen to be it. So you think of the crowd disturbances that have happened at the Euros. Yeah, who's been the biggest perpetrators of that?
Can I tell you a quick story?
Yes, please.
When I was heading to Wales in the car, and I got the puncher on the motorway, heading out of Liverpool.
This was a book signing, a book convention you were going to with the wife.
This was last November, and I got the puncher and put the space saver, which is, if you know what it is, it's a thin wheel that fits in your trunk or your boot of your car. I got out on the motorway, fucking lorries passing me, pissing rain, I was getting soaked, but I got it on anyway, and I pulled into Warrington.
Northeast?
Yeah, Warrington. Now, what's Warrington famous for when it comes to this country here? The Warrington bomb.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That was a long time ago.
Yep.
And I pulled into Warrington. Now, I don't know whether this was the case or not. I hope the fuck it wasn't. But I pulled in an empty quick fit.
Okay.
An empty quick fit. And the guy heard my accent. And he says, no, can't do anything for you today. An older guy who would remember.
Generational trauma, right?
You know what I mean? And he heard my accent and he says, can't do anything for you today, mate, we're fully booked. And I said to him, mate, there's nobody here, come on, I just need he says, can't help you.
Fuck.
It was as blunt as that.
But there wasn't even any eye contact.
There wasn't even any eye contact. You know what I mean? It was so uncomfortable that I actually just went, right, okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's dive right in.
Now, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they were busy, but they weren't.
Well, let's dive right into it. Dean Midhat. A very close friend of mine, fantastic commentator, fantastic MC, English lad, genuinely just a really, really, really good lad.
Hello, Dean.
He listens to the podcast. I've worked with him several times. Cannot speak highly of this guy as a man, of his character, of his ability as a commentator. He asked the question, why do the Irish not like the English? I love all Irish people. I just didn't get the memo. Right. Now, Dino, you're a great lad, but you're different. You're an intelligent, critical thinker.
Until the 1980s,
yeah.
What was in the pubs, Phil?
So, if you would have went into a pub right up until the 80s, because I think you experienced this in England, you would have seen signs outside the pubs. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. And there was vehement opposition to the Irish people. And that's really not that long ago. I have uncles that worked over, because there was a lot of work.
There was a lot of work. People left for here from the 70s and went over in the boat.
Went over in the boat, did a lot of work. And the treatment of the Irish, the Northern Irish, was fucking deplorable.
There's a song, Dean, if you want to listen to this here, man, if you're listening to this podcast, there's a song called Nothing But the Same Old Story by Paul Brady. You go and listen to that song, it'll give you a quick background of what it was like as an Irishman going to England in the 70s.
Now, without, not getting into anything too heavy duty, but the English essentially curated and engineered a famine to suppress the Irish people.
And that's fact.
It's not conspiracy. They made the Irish language illegal to suppress the people of this country. They introduced taxes, and they introduced land taxes and tithes that made it impossible for the Irish to own land. It was colonialism at its fucking worst. Yeah. Rape, pillage.
No, that's not the English now.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
The jewel, even everything that the crown has, is all stolen.
Yeah, but that, you grow up. That's part of Irish history. Yeah. That's taught in schools. Yeah. So I don't think you can blame, on an individual basis, yes, I would treat an Englishman as I find him. Yeah. But as an institution, as a mass group of people, I've seen too much of them. And it's not that they're unlikable, it's just that I don't like them. So, Dane, I love your very bones, but I'm going to leave it there. Next question. Keep this one nice and lighthearted. Nice, simple one. DC or Marvel, Lee?
Marvel. Fucking right? Flat to the mat, man.
Now, this isn't, people think this is going to be an easy one for me. It's not.
No, you've kind of fucking, you've
Do you know what?
That.
I've never been, I'm in a fucking Batman shirt here, but I've never been vehemently DC. There's a misconception that I am a flag-waving DC fan. I'm a Batman fan.
Not necessarily DC.
Not necessarily DC. If the character of Batman had been published by Marvel, it's not the publisher that I feel a kinship to, that I feel drawn to. It's the character of Batman. I've never read a Marvel book, I'll be honest, but I've read, I think the only non-Batman books that I've read are probably either the Justice League, which Batman is a member of, or Watchmen. Yeah. Which is fucking great. Alan Moore, great. What
did you think of the movie, Watchmen movie?
Visually, I loved it.
It looked great. It
was Zack Snyder again, who's a fantastic director. Visually, it was great.
It was like wading through mud, mate.
It was almost trying to be a wee bit, not woke, but a wee bit too socially relevant for its own good. Now, the book is absolutely fantastic, and I loved it, but I still enjoyed the movie. But I think it maybe missed a wee step or two. Yeah. But yeah, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. Fucking love the Marvel movies. However, I believe this last wee phase,
it's going to be shit.
I think it's already. I think it's already a bit shit. To be fair.
What's on the last phase?
This fourth phase, you're going to have Captain America: Brave New World.
Fucking Captain America.
Yeah.
It has to be fucking Steve Rogers.
What else is part? I can't remember what else part of it. But the last couple, like what did you call with the Eternals was shit. The one with what do you call her? Captain Marvel. And the two
didn't mind her.
The two, but
didn't mind her in the Avengers.
No, in the Avengers. But have you seen her solo movie?
Her solo movie was terrible.
Yeah, it was shit. Her and the other two wee blades. I didn't really. Didn't really enjoy it, to be fair. Just because it wasn't good. What else was in the last phase of Marvel? Even the Hawkeye series wasn't.
He wasn't. I mean, Hawkeye wasn't.
So what? Hawkeye, right? Hawkeye's class. Hawkeye's class and everything like.
He shouldn't be in among them superheroes.
But So he's got the arrows and everything, right? Say he's got 10 of them, right? And he's fucking gone, and 10 of them have gone, and there's nothing else there. He's getting his fuck knocked in, to be fair. But the Marvel movies are class. I love the Batman movies, even the Joel Schumacher ones, but Robert Pattinson, for me, is the best cinematic incarnation of the Batman.
I struggle with that one. I'm the opposite. I love him. For me, it's like Christian Bale.
He's my Batman. Like, don't get me wrong, Christian Bale, incredible, absolutely love him, but Robert Pattinson is my Batman.
Do you think the second one's going to be fucking...
mate.
The second one, is he going to start funding the fucking, all the shit that he's doing the second one with?
My theory... this is turned into a fucking Batman podcast. My theory is, so the first movie directed by Matt Reeves, fucking cinematic genius. You saw the character of the Batman. Yeah. We've yet to see the character of Bruce Wayne. So Batman is not Bruce Wayne's secret identity.
Even
Bruce
unmasked,
Wayne,
he was still.
Bruce Wayne is Batman's secret identity. You've seen him as this tortured. People say emo, all this sort of carry on, blah, blah, but you see him as this tortured soul who was just trying to make a difference in Gotham. Now you're going to see that he has to be a public face as well to do that. So you're going to see him slowly curating this character of the Bruce Wayne, which I think is going to be an incredible bit of character development. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. Plus, in the first movie, he's only in his second year of his criminological experiment. So he's only 2 years into being Batman. Do you know what I mean? So you have all this. He's still forming what the Batman is, which I think is going to be fucking incredible. But anyway, next one, or I'll be here all. I love this one from Big John that I used to work with. Lovely, lovely man. Your Mount Rushmore of MMA. You get 4.
What the fuck does that mean?
So you know Mount Rushmore. So you've got like the 4.
Four people?
Yeah. Who would be your 4 if there was a Mount Rushmore of MMA? Who would your 4 be, mate?
GSP's in there.
100%. Hoist Gracie. Is he in there?
Do you know what, man?
This is fucking difficult, isn't it?
How long is Hoist in it for me?
But first, he won 3 out of the first 4 UFCs.
I know that there, but he wouldn't.
And the only reason
him now.
The only reason he did no. But then in saying that, you can't go by that method. Would you then not put Muhammad Ali in the Mount Rushmore of boxing because of what he would do now?
Of course. Yes.
Okay, so it's relevant to the time in which and space that they occupied. Hoist Gracie, pioneer, 3 of the 4 UFCs. Only reason he didn't win UFC 3 is because he had to withdraw through injury, and Steve Jenham, who was an alternate, won it.
Yeah.
So he's there for me. Randy Couture. As a Captain America, the first man to win 2 championships in two different weight divisions, not simultaneously, but he was the first one to do it, and only began his MMA career at the age of 33. Randy Couture's in there.
Fry in there.
Oh, the Predator, fuck me.
Mate, this is so hard. That's a fucking hard question.
Mark Coleman has to be in there as well. The Godfather of ground and pound. Don Fry just for the mustache. So do you remember the fight he had with Takayama and Pride?
Nick Diaz is fucking one of the greatest living fighters.
And Anderson Silva has to be in there with his shout.
Hey, listen, this is bigger than Mount Rushmore now.
Vanderlei has to be in there. Do you know who I wouldn't put in it?
Who?
John Jones.
Nah, I've no interest in him.
No, I don't. John Jones has this moniker of being the greatest ever to do it. John Jones, not for me, man.
Do you know what? And he was never the same after the GSP fight. Johnny Hendricks.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he fucking won that fight.
He won that. I think that fight broke. That fight. That's a great. Yeah. He won that fight.
He won that fight.
And then GSP.
He retired.
GSP retired after that. I thought you meant GSP and John Jones, and I was going to have to be like, No, but Johnny Hendricks was a fucking steamroller at a stage.
He smashed him in that fight and then lost.
Randy Couture is definitely up there for me because he's probably my favorite fighter of all time.
Right,
Captain America.
Nick Diaz, mine. This is mine.
Nick Diaz never won a UFC title though. Does that impact?
Something about the prolificness of what he was fucking doing, man.
Stockton, motherfucker.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a great impression, by the way.
That's not bad. There's just something about how prolific he was. He was fucking always there. He was always putting it in. He was a fucking animal, win, lose, or draw, man.
For what McGregor did for the sport, is he on it?
He should be.
For what he's done for the sport and the development and progression of the sport.
There's a good side and a bad side to him.
But here, listen, no, this would be a great
this is a podcast.
Jackie boy, clip this for the comments. Who would be in your Mount Rushmore of MMA? I think that is a great question.
George St. Pierre.
GSP for you. Yes, you can't deny GSP. Randy Couture's in there.
Randy Couture, that's 2. How many more am I allowed to?
Do you know what curveball I'm going to put in my Mount Rushmore of MMA?
You're putting him
No. Dana White.
He never had a fucking fight in his life.
Doesn't have to be a fighter. Said Mount Rushmore of MMA. For what Dana's done for the sport.
All right, then we can start looking at outside of that then. Pride and fucking...
Why are you looking outside? That said Mount Rushmore of MMA. Pride's still MMA.
I don't know.
We said Don Fry. He fought
We
in
just
Pride.
assumed that UFC there, didn't we?
You did.
Fuck up.
No, listen, we're going to move on from that because we could be there all day.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Final wee question. Favorite buddy cop film? Well, that's a good one.
Fucking Lethal Weapon, man. 100%
This person has said Rush Hour, but you couldn't have Rush Hour in its current guise today.
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon's up. Favorite buddy cop movie? Ooh. Does Batman count? Because no, listen.
Wait. It doesn't count. That fucker just puts Batman in the room.
Listen, Batman has informed most of the major decisions I've made in my life, and I say that with sincerity.
But you're not a cop.
No. Right, but Batman is a friend with Jim Gordon.
No.
Ergo.
That is not a fucking buddy cop movie.
Is he buddies with a cop?
He's not a cop.
No, I didn't specifically say they both had to be.
Don't you start
cops.
looking at wee ways out of this now?
No,
You're
I'm not.
starting to
I'm just
fucking,
saying,
you know what I mean?
Fine, Lethal Weapon.
Buddy cop movie.
Lethal Weapon. Oh, I'm getting too old for this shit. Fuck off, Jesus Christ. Last thing I want to touch on, Lee. We touched on it on the very first episode because it had just been announced. But the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Perry goes down this weekend. Thoughts on that, buddy?
Mike Perry has to fucking win this.
Yes.
I mean, it's as simple as that. It's boxing's better.
Yeah. If Mike Perry doesn't win this,
boxing's fucked.
Boxing's dead, man. Like, if you looked at Jake Paul's record, so
he's a child.
He's 9-1.
He's a child with too much money, too much time in his hands.
9-1 as a professional. He has wins over former UFC champions. Questionable wins. Again, conspiracy theory kicking in. He's beaten Anderson Silva. He's beaten Nate Diaz.
At the minute, these aren't stretches.
He's beaten Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz, who beat Jorge Masvidal last week in a boxing match.
Did you see that though? I mean, that was terrible fucking boxing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. But so Jake Paul has beaten Anderson Silva, right, by decision. Yep. The same Anderson Silva, he has beaten twice, has beaten Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Do you think there's something in this?
Fucking right, I do.
Do you actually
Anderson Silva beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the former WBC world champion. Right? You're telling me Anderson Silva can put on a performance, not just an anomalous performance, beat him twice, once by knockout, once by decision, and can't fucking beat Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Catch yourself the fuck on.
He's took a payment.
I think there's something fucking dodgy going on there. But look at the bare knuckle boxing career of Mike Perry. Jesus Christ. He has beaten 3 former UFC champions, legitimate, and you can't fake bare knuckle.
No,
you can't fake. Like he beat MVP in bare knuckle. He beat Eddie Alvarez.
He fought a bare knuckle, did he?
Yeah. MVP. Yeah, so he beat in London.
Right.
In London. So he's beaten MVP. He's beaten Eddie Alvarez. He's beaten Luke Rockhold. He's beaten another former UFC champion. Give me 2 seconds just to check. But his resume in bare knuckle is incredible. Who else was it? Talk amongst yourselves there. This is for people who are just listening to this. This is great. Folks,
what is happening? How are we getting on? Are we bored yet?
How long have we gone?
That's
time wise.
That's an hour 10.
Oh shit, Jesus! We
should probably think about wrapping this one.
We've worked to do, man.
We have to go to work here.
This is early morning.
I have to go and get everybody here.
Look what could. Thiago Alves was never UFC champion, but was a number 1 contender.
Yeah.
So he's beaten some really, really, really great guys.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm sorry. You have to go get your wife and your son. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 4 of The Bat and the Bandit with myself, Phil Campbell, my best friend in the entire world, Mr. Lee Rogers. Follow The Bat and the Bandit on Instagram, Facebook. Follow myself at PC_commentary. Follow yourself.
Rogers and Lee Rogers Music.
Like, share, subscribe.
Please do.
If you disagree, let us know why. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube and all the usual platforms. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Bye.